I faked my own death to see who would mourn. The results devastated me. I watched my own funeral from across the street, hiding behind tinted windows in a rental car, camera recording everything. 37 people showed up. My wife Natalie arrived in a black dress I'd never seen before, holding hands with my best friend Derek. They weren't crying. They were whispering to each other and smiling when they thought no one was looking. My brother Quinn didn't come at all. Neither did my business partners. The people giving eulogies were reading from scripts, stumbling over basic facts about my life. My own father checked his phone twice during the service. I'd staged my death in a hiking accident to see who truly cared, to see who would mourn the man I thought I was. What I discovered destroyed everything I believed about my life. By the time the funeral ended, I had evidence that would annihilate every relationship I'd ever valued. And I was about to use it. Justice must be restored and betrayal must be exposed. You won't believe what happened when I came back from the dead. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. This story gets dark. My name is Sullivan Hayes, 34 years old. I thought I had it all figured out. I'd built a successful digital marketing agency in Portland from nothing. Started in my apartment 7 years ago with one client and a laptop. Grew it to 15 employees and annual revenue that let me buy a house in the Pearl District. Married to Natalie for 6 years. Met her at a networking event. Married within a year. Close relationship with my younger brother Quinn, who I'd helped put through college. A tight circle of friends led by Derek, my best friend since our fraternity days. On paper, my life was perfect. The kind of life people screenshot for Instagram. Good income. Beautiful wife who worked in public relations. Solid friendships. Family nearby. The American dream, Portland edition. But something felt wrong. For months, maybe years, I'd had this nagging feeling that I was playing a role in other people's lives rather than living my own. Like I was a supporting character in their stories instead of the protagonist in mine. Natalie seemed distant. Our conversations had become purely transactional, bills, schedules, whose turn it was to take out the recycling. She'd stopped asking about my day, stopped laughing at my jokes. We'd sit at our dining table having dinner in complete silence, both scrolling through our phones, existing in parallel rather than together. I try to reconnect. Suggest a weekend trip to the coast like we used to do. Book reservations at nice restaurants. She'd have excuses ready before I finished suggesting them. I'm exhausted from work. My client presentation is Monday. I need to prepare. Can we do it next month? Things are just crazy right now. Next month never came. Derek, my supposed best friend, had become mysteriously unavailable over the past year. We used to grab drinks every Thursday without fail. That dwindled to once a month, then once every few months. He'd cancel last minute with vague explanations. Something came up. Work emergency. When we did manage to hang out, he'd check his phone constantly and steer conversations away from anything meaningful. How's married life? I'd ask. Fine, you know. Same old stuff. Hey, did you see that game last night? My business partners, Kyle and Terrence, seemed more interested in the company's valuation than the actual work we were doing. Every meeting became about exit strategies and acquisition offers. They'd bring up competitors who'd sold their agencies for millions, dropping hints about how we should monetize while the market is hot. Even my family felt off. My brother Quinn, who I'd supported financially through college and his first business venture, would dodge my calls. When he did answer, conversations were brief and distracted. My father's visits felt like obligations he was checking off a list. He'd stay exactly 1 hour, make awkward small talk, then leave with relief visible on his face. I started wondering, if I disappeared tomorrow, would anyone actually miss me? Or was I just a convenient fixture in everyone's life? The husband who paid half the mortgage, the friend who picked up the tab, the business partner who made everyone money, the brother who wrote checks, the son who visited on holidays. That question haunted me for months, kept me up at night. I'd lie in bed next to Natalie, watching her sleep, wondering if she'd cry at my funeral or just go through the motions. Then one night, unable to sleep, scrolling through Netflix at 2 a.m., I stumbled on a true crime documentary about a man who'd faked his death to escape gambling debts. The comments section was full of people joking about doing the same thing, just to see who'd actually show up to the funeral. That's when the idea formed. Not as a joke, as a genuine experiment. What if I staged my death? Not permanently, just long enough to see how people reacted. Who would mourn genuinely? Who would be devastated? Who would reveal their true feelings when they thought I couldn't hear them anymore? It was insane, potentially illegal, definitely unethical. The kind of idea that should have been dismissed immediately as the sleep-deprived thought it was. But I couldn't shake it. The more I thought about it, the more it made a twisted kind of sense. You never really know how people feel about you when you're alive. They smile to your face, say the right things. But what would they say when I was gone? What would they do? How would they really feel? I had to know. The uncertainty was eating me alive more than any potential truth could. What I didn't know was that the truth would be so much worse than I'd imagined. Planning a fake death is harder than it sounds. You can't just disappear. People investigate. There are protocols. You need a plausible scenario, witnesses, official reports, a body of evidence, even if there's no actual body. I spent 3 weeks researching, reading news stories about hiking accidents, drowning victims, missing persons cases, learning what made searches end, what made authorities declare someone deceased versus missing. I chose a hiking accident in the Columbia River Gorge. I was an avid hiker, went on solo trips regularly. Everyone knew that about me. It was completely in character. I picked a remote section of trail known for dangerous conditions. Eagle Creek Trail, specifically the section near Tunnel Falls where the path narrows along steep cliffs. People had actually died there. It was believable. I told Natalie I'd be gone for 3 days doing a challenging solo hike, one I'd been planning for months. She was in the kitchen making coffee when I told her, barely looking up from her phone. "Okay, be safe," she said absently, the way you'd respond to someone saying they're running to the store. "No, I'll miss you. No, call me when you get to the trailhead." Just automatic words without feeling behind them. I drove to the parking area at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, made sure the trail attendant saw me, logged my name and my car. Hiked 3 miles in with my full pack, my phone tracking the GPS. Then, near the most dangerous section, I carefully staged the scene. Left my backpack near the cliff edge, partially open with items scattered like there'd been a struggle or a fall. Dropped my phone on the rocks, cracked the screen to make it look like impact damage. Tossed my car keys. Left my water bottle rolling near the edge. Then I changed into completely different clothes I'd hidden in a secondary bag, hiked out via a different trail that didn't have cameras, and drove away in a rental car I'd parked at a different trailhead using a fake ID I'd purchased online. The whole thing felt surreal. Like I was watching someone else execute this insane plan. I checked into a budget motel 40 miles away using cash. Set up my laptop. Started monitoring everything. The accident was reported Sunday evening when I didn't return to the ranger station as logged. Search and rescue deployed Monday morning. By Monday afternoon, they'd found my belongings near the cliff edge. The official assessment: I'd likely slipped on loose rocks, fallen into the gorge, and been swept away by the river. Body presumed lost to the current, likely carried miles downstream. Recovery unlikely given the terrain and water conditions. From my motel room, I watched it all unfold. News reports, social media, the immediate aftermath of my death. Natalie's Facebook post went up within 6 hours of the official declaration. "I can't believe Sullivan is gone. My heart is completely shattered. He was my everything, my whole world. I don't know how I'll go on without him." 347 people liked it. Dozens of comments offering condolences, prayers, support. People I'd never even met commenting about what a tragedy this was. But here's what made my blood run cold. Weeks earlier, driven by that nagging feeling something was wrong, I'd installed a hidden security camera in our bedroom. Just a small device tucked into a bookshelf, motion-activated, uploading to a private cloud storage. I'd felt guilty doing it, like I was violating trust, but the feeling that something was off had been too strong to ignore. From my laptop in that dingy motel room, I accessed the live feed. Natalie was on our bed, on the phone, and she was laughing. Not crying, not devastated. Laughing. I know. The Facebook post was super dramatic," she said to whoever was on the other end. "But I have to play the devastated widow, you know? People expect it. Yeah, it's sad or whatever, but honestly, the life insurance is $1 million. No, we just have to wait a few months to be respectful about it. Then we can finally be together properly without sneaking around." My chest felt like it was caving in. "Derek, I love you too," she continued, her voice soft and intimate. "This is finally happening. We're finally free. No more hiding. No more guilt. Just us and a fresh start with plenty of money to do it right. Derek. My best friend Derek. The guy I'd trusted since college. The guy who'd been best man at my wedding. I sat in that motel room, staring at the screen, as my wife and my best friend discussed their future together, funded by my death, with all the enthusiasm of people planning a vacation. You won't believe what I discovered next. I didn't rush back, didn't confront them. Instead, I watched and documented everything. Over the next week, I monitored the security cameras I'd placed throughout our house. Natalie and Derek together constantly. In my home, in my bed, planning how to spend the insurance payout. Should we keep the house or sell it? Natalie asked one evening. Sell it, Derek replied. Too many memories of him. Let's start fresh somewhere warm. Maybe San Diego. I recorded every conversation, every casual dismissal of my existence, every laugh about how easy this had been. But it got worse. My brother Quinn came to the house to comfort Natalie. I watched him hug her, express condolences. Then, when Derek left the room, Quinn's entire demeanor changed. So we're splitting it 3 ways, right? Quinn said quietly. That was the deal. Natalie nodded. 1 million divided by 3. You get your third once I receive the payout. My own brother. And on it, planning to profit from my death. Little did they know, I was documenting every single word. I expanded my surveillance. Checked my business accounts. My partners had already begun paperwork to buy out my shares at a drastically reduced, compassionate price from my estate. My father visited Natalie. I expected grief. Support. Instead, I heard. I never thought Sullivan would amount to much, but at least he had good life insurance. You'll be comfortable. Everyone I'd loved, everyone I'd trusted, was either betraying me or dismissing me. Not a single person seemed genuinely devastated by my death. The funeral was scheduled for 2 weeks after my accident. I decided to attend, to see it all with my own eyes, to document the final proof of who these people really were. I rented a car with tinted windows, parked across from the funeral home, set up cameras, watched as the people I loved proved I'd been right to doubt them. The funeral revealed everything. 37 people showed up. Most were business acquaintances or distant relatives who barely knew me. Natalie and Derek arrived together, maintaining a careful distance in public but exchanging glances that made their relationship obvious. Natalie's tears looked rehearsed. Derek gave a eulogy full of generic platitudes that could have been about anyone. My brother Quinn didn't even show up. Sent flowers with a card. Had to work. Sorry. My business partners attended but left early, barely speaking to anyone. The people giving speeches stumbled over basic facts about my life. One person called me Solomon instead of Sullivan. Another talked about my passion for sailing. I'd never been sailing in my life. Nobody seemed to actually know me or care enough to get the details right. This is where it gets really good. Sitting in that car, watching my own funeral, I realized something. These people hadn't just betrayed me. They'd already written me off. I was a bank account, a convenience, a life insurance policy. Coming back from the dead wasn't enough. I needed to destroy every lie they'd told, every plan they'd made on my grave, every assumption that I'd died without knowing the truth. I spent the next 3 days planning my resurrection, not just showing up alive. That would be dramatic but temporary. I needed systematic destruction of everything they'd built on my death. What they didn't know was that I'd been a digital marketing specialist for 12 years. I understood data, documentation, digital trails, and I had everything I needed to ruin them all. They thought they were dealing with a dead man who'd never know their secrets. They were about to learn they'd betrayed someone who knew how to destroy reputations in the digital age. I started with the lawyers, called the life insurance company from a payphone, disguised my voice, and reported suspected fraud. Sent them anonymous tips about Natalie and Derek's relationship, including timestamps from my security footage. The insurance investigation began immediately. Fraud claims halt all payments. Then I contacted my business partner's investors. Sent documentation showing they were trying to buy out my shares at 20% of actual value, while telling investors the company was struggling after my death. The investors demanded an audit. Froze all major decisions. I filed anonymous reports with the state bar about my brother Quinn's involvement in an insurance fraud scheme. He was a licensed real estate agent. Even the hint of fraud investigation could destroy his career. All of this happened within 48 hours, before I ever revealed I was alive. But the best part was yet to come. I scheduled a company-wide video meeting for my agency. Sent it from my old email account, which I still had access to. Subject line, important announcement from Sullivan Hayes. My business partners probably thought it was a hacked account. Some sick joke. But when the meeting time arrived, I appeared on screen. Very much alive. The chat exploded. People screaming. Someone fainted. My business partners' faces went white. Hi everyone, I said calmly. As you can see, reports of my death were greatly exaggerated. I'm alive. I'm well. And I'm coming back. The video of me appearing back from the dead went viral within hours. Local news picked it up. Then national outlets. Portland man returns from fake death to expose wife's affair and insurance fraud. I gave one carefully planned interview to a sympathetic journalist. Told the whole story. The nagging feeling of being undervalued. The decision to stage my death. The discovery of the affair and the conspiracy to collect insurance money. I showed edited clips of the security footage, enough to prove the affair and the fraud planning, but not so much that I'd violated any laws. My lawyer had approved every word. The public reaction was nuclear. Natalie and Derek were destroyed on social media. Derek lost his job within 24 hours. He'd worked in financial services, and fraud allegations ended that career immediately. Natalie's social media was flooded with hate. She deleted everything. My brother Quinn's real estate license was suspended pending investigation. The insurance fraud implication alone was enough. But I wasn't done. I filed for divorce with documentation of the affair. Under Oregon law, adultery affects asset division. Natalie wouldn't get half. She'd get nothing. I called an emergency board meeting for my agency. Presented documentation showing my business partners had tried to defraud my estate and our investors. They were removed from the company. I retained full control. Within a week of revealing I was alive, I'd systematically dismantled every betrayal, every lie, every plan built on my supposed death. What would you do if you discovered this level of betrayal? Let me know in the comments. The legal fallout was massive. The district attorney charged Natalie and Derek with conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Even though I was alive and no money had been paid out, the planning and intent was enough. My brother Quinn avoided criminal charges, but lost his real estate license. He'd knowingly participated in a fraud scheme. His career was over. The divorce moved quickly. Natalie's lawyer tried to argue she'd been emotionally devastated by my death and therefore not in her right mind during the affair. My lawyer played the security footage of her laughing about life insurance money. The judge was not sympathetic. Natalie got nothing. No house. No assets. No alimony. You planned to profit from what you believed was your husband's death, the judge said. This court finds that unconscionable. Derek's family disowned him. His parents actually called me to apologize. We didn't raise him to be this person, his mother said, crying. My business partners settled out of court, sold me their shares for $1 each, and signed NDAs. They left the industry entirely. Word had spread. Nobody wanted to work with people who tried to steal from a dead partner. The agency thrived after they left. Clients respected the integrity of staying with a company that had been betrayed but survived. If you're enjoying this story of justice, hit that subscribe button for more revenge stories. 6 months after my resurrection, Natalie showed up at my new apartment. I'd moved out of our house, couldn't stand being there anymore. She looked terrible. Weight loss, dark circles. The confident woman I'd married was gone. Can we talk? Her voice was small. You've got 5 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me. I got caught up with Derek, and it spiraled, and I convinced myself that I was worth more dead than alive. She flinched. I never meant for it to go that far. We were having an affair, and then when you died, and the insurance came up, it just seemed like a convenient solution, like you could profit from losing me. I loved you once. I really did. No, you didn't. And you know what the worst part is? If you'd just been honest. If you'd said you wanted a divorce, that you'd fallen for Derek, I would have been hurt, but I would have understood. Instead, you plotted to cash in on my death. I know. I destroyed everything. My reputation. My career. My family won't speak to me. I've lost everything. Good. You should. Actions have consequences. Is there any chance? No. There's no chance. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. If I'd actually died, you'd be in San Diego right now spending my insurance money with Derek. She left crying. I felt nothing. Derek sent a letter from jail while awaiting trial. A long apology, explaining that he'd been jealous of my success, that the affair had started innocently, that he'd never meant to hurt me. I tore it up without finishing it. My brother Quinn tried to reach out through our father. Wanted forgiveness. Understanding. I told our father. Quinn chose money over family. He can live with that choice. Some bridges, once burned, don't get rebuilt. That was 2 years ago. The criminal trials are over. Natalie served 18 months for conspiracy to commit fraud and was released 3 months ago. Derek got 2 years and just finished his sentence last month. Both are out now, living quiet lives in different states, trying to rebuild with ruined reputations following them everywhere they go. Quinn moved to Arizona, started over in a different industry. We haven't spoken since the day I told our father I had no brother. Sometimes I wonder if he thinks about what he threw away for money he never even received. My business thrived in the aftermath. The media attention, while chaotic, actually brought in clients who valued the integrity of sticking with a company that had been betrayed from within but survived. I sold it last year for an amount I'm not legally allowed to disclose, but it was genuinely life-changing. Enough that I'll never have to work again unless I want to. I'm dating someone new now. Her name is Autumn, and she's nothing like Natalie. She's a third-grade teacher who lives in a modest apartment and drives a 10-year-old Honda Civic. When we met at a coffee shop, she had no idea who I was or anything about my viral back from the dead story. We talked for 3 hours about books, teaching, her students' funny stories, my thoughts on starting a nonprofit. She loved me for who I was in that moment, not what I had or what I could provide. When I finally told her about my past, the fake death, the betrayals, all of it, she was quiet for a long time. That must have been devastating, she said finally. To discover that everyone you trusted was just waiting for you to die. Not judgment, not excitement about the drama, just genuine empathy for the pain I'd experienced. That's when I knew she was different. I learned something profound from this nightmare. You can't fake your death to test people's love. That's manipulative and wrong. But sometimes life tests it for you anyway. And when people fail that test spectacularly, you learn who they really are beneath the masks they wear. The Sullivan who faked his death doesn't exist anymore. That person was desperately seeking validation from people who didn't deserve to give it, who measured his worth by whether others valued him, rather than whether he valued himself. The Sullivan who came back from the dead is different, stronger, more selective about who gets access to his life and his trust. I have a smaller circle now, but everyone in it is real, genuine. They're for me not because of what I can do for them, but because they actually care. I don't regret what I did, even though it was extreme and possibly unethical. It saved me from spending the rest of my life with people who saw me as a resource rather than a person. Better to know the truth and face the pain than to live a comfortable life forever. My therapist, who I've been seeing twice a week since this all happened, says I have trust issues now. She's probably right. But she also says I have clarity. I know exactly what genuine love and friendship look like because I've seen the counterfeit versions up close. Justice was served, and truth had the final word. If you enjoyed this story about exposing betrayal and facing hard truths, subscribe for more stories where liars face consequences and fake people get exposed. Drop a comment about whether you think I went too far or not far enough with my revenge. And remember, the people who truly love you won't need to be tested. They'll show up. They'll care. They'll mourn you honestly if they ever lose you. Everyone else, they're just extras in your story, and you don't owe them a starring role. Everyone else is just waiting for the will to be read.